All right, Scotty here, back at it with another video. A lot of progress on the garden. We've been making some good headway on what we want to do. I've recently, if you watched my last videos, had been fencing, putting the T-posts in. I've got the length of the fence all T-posted out and a few other things going on. It's really taking shape. Let's take a look. So I'll start up here. So I'm at the end of the yard where I'm gonna have the tiny house. It's gonna be sitting back in here when it's officially ready. Right now we're in the making of getting the septic tank put in, and we've got to trench a line from the house over to here to get water, because this water source is not drinkable water, so it's got to come from the water main out of the house. But we've got a plumber all lined out to do it and everything, so I've still put my fence in just so I can get a visual and I can have my dog fenced in until then. And at the end here I'm going to have one of my archways here going on. I don't have it in right now though. I took it out just so I could easily work around it. One of the things that happened in the last week is we had the tree that was here taken out, and this is that wood, and we had it the tree cutters chipped it all up and added to our chipping pile. So now we've got a few chipping piles going on. They even brought us some extra chips from some trees, one of their jobs that they did. So what we're going to do is we're going to have these 3 piles piled up over here. Once we burn this, we got to get a good burn day. Going to have a pile of all the wood chips up here, get some compost on top of that, and just let it sit and do its thing, and in time have some really good soil and some potting soil. So that's what's going to happen with these 3 piles. And this fence is it's looking good. Right now it's just been really time consuming figuring out the best way to put the clips on. For me it was a struggle. I had realized I had put the fence on the opposite side that I should have on the T-posts, but this is the correct way to do it. And I'm basically just putting these on, twisting them up with this little tool. I was doing it with pliers before, thinking it would be a little easier, but it's not. So this is the way to go if you're ever putting these clips on these T-posts, from my experience. But yeah, so the only thing I see doing more to the fence is probably running a wire on the top of it, possibly. I'm just gonna see what Galaxy does if he can jump this. But in time, the raspberries will be all planted along this. This is all going to be raspberries on this fence line. From here down, there already is raspberries planted. Again, I got these all from our last house, and they've been growing. Oh yeah, one of the things that the plumbers did, they were just here a couple days ago. They installed this new faucet thing because this one won't freeze during the winter. So they just installed this actually a couple days ago. So we're looking good there. And I wanted to show one of the raspberry plants actually has a few raspberries on it. Let's go on the other side. Alright, so I'm happy to say I at least was able to grow a good raspberry this year. And the way that it's laid out, hang on, I gotta move from this water. It should be a pretty good yield next year for some raspberries. These are growing in really good. It's just the beginning of September, so it usually doesn't get really cold here in the Napa, Boise area till like end of November, usually. So they've got a good month more to grow, so I'm stoked about that. And then when they start growing, I'm gonna take some of the sprouts and transplant them to fill in this area down there, so that this whole fence line will be all raspberries. And then when the tree trimmers were out here, if you watch the other videos, we had a bunch of foliage, some plants growing on the back of this. We had them cut those out. We're gonna run a wire T-post fence there and do blackberries. It's gonna be just a huge run, probably like 75 feet of blackberries. We're huge fans of berries and blackberries. So we're gonna have our own blackberry patch. We were spoiled the last few years and had our own raspberry patch and got tons of raspberries. We did a lot of canning of some jam. Still have a lot of jam left from the raspberries, so we'll have plenty of raspberries. This is 175 foot long, so in time, within the next couple years, this should just be full. And in theory, blackberries also. So excited about that. Right now, for today on the agenda, our neighbor has befriended us. We've talked to him pretty regularly. It's just him that lives here. I'm going to be taking some of this wood. He had the tree trimmers do some of his tree cutting down at his place also. So I'm going to move this cattle panel. I've got cattle panels here temporarily. Going to move this wood out of here, put it over here, continue doing some work on the fence. And then I have a few more raspberry plants to do, so I'm going to get that in motion and then come back and show the progress. Alright, so next phase for today, the thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be Operation Move the Tiny Home. We're going to be getting it out of the way, putting it up in the area where we graded it. And update on this tiny home, I've just really been loving it. It's perfect for me. The bed in there is super comfortable. Quiet out here at night in the country. I mean, it's just awesome. At night you can see the stars just really, really good at night. So I come hang out here all the time. The weather's just been great. So we're going to be hooking up the truck and moving the tiny home up to the area that we had graded down, which is up here. We're going to just back it up in here and leave it up here so it's up out of the way, and then eventually it'll be here on the other side of the fence, but we've still got to get the power hooked up, sewer, and all that. So we're not going to put it right there because we're going to be working. So we are going to be moving it over here for now. All right, we've got the tiny home hooked up to the dually. It's going to take a lot of forward and backward, but we will get it. I'm going to help guide him, so I'm going to video it when we're closer. Alright, we're getting a little closer now. Scott Sr.'s going to back it up. Galaxy, he helps all the time. It's funny. You can definitely tell he's a working dog. He's like right up there, making sure that he's doing his job, moving the trailer, moving the tiny home around. All right. All right. Operation Move Tiny Home was a success. Really like it up here much better. Anyways, so right now this is, like I said, just its temporary spot. It'll be back in here once we get the septic tank hooked up in the water and power. But yeah. Nice view. Alright, so this will be its home till we get everything done. Gonna continue doing some things on the garden and check out some more things. Alright, we've reached the end of the day. That's a lot of work, putting that fence up, wiring it. Most time is just wiring the dang thing. But I've got it wired up to here. Now I'm going to leave this fence off because we're going to be doing the work in here for the septic tank. And the water. So it's looking good. So I've kind of got this fence wrapped around over here. And securing this to keep my dog Galaxy in. That's most of the reason for the fence, to keep him in. And I got those 3 raspberry plants in. So that adds to this whole row. Now there's raspberries in between all here, so we're looking good on raspberries. Next spring when they start sprouting, I'll get the sprouts and fill in this area with them. And then this will be full of raspberries. And got the wood moved over from next door. Things are looking good. Talking to our neighbor, he's lived next door for 30 years. And this area right here, he said nothing has been planted or growing here that entire time. So we're kind of the first to plant stuff through here. It's looking good. The flowering vines are going really nicely. I've been getting purple passion flowers. They've been blooming throughout here. And then I've got them going through here. Right now I've got this full of purple passion flowers, and I'm going to be putting it in this hole. I actually have a purple passion flower fruit growing. Maybe it'll get big enough to eat, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to be planting this in here. Next spring that'll get a bunch of sprouts, and then I'm going to plant more of them throughout this fence line. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. Over here I've just planted a wisteria vine that I had potted up for, oh man, at least 6 months. So I planted it there. Hopefully it grows. If it does, when it does, it'll fill in this archway in this corner. And these raspberries are starting to thrive, so the bigger ones are doing really good. Things are looking good. I want to give a big shout out to the people that have been watching my videos. One of my videos has 400 views. That's just awesome to me. I'm gonna keep the videos coming out. There's gonna be a lot going on here. Eventually it's gonna end up being just amazing as far as what it looks like, what we're gonna be putting out, vegetable garden and all that. It'll be all in upcoming videos. Out here we're gonna have the rows for our vegetables. I was contemplating planting directly in the ground with compost on top and rototilling it in. I think we're going to scratch that idea. I've been looking into raised beds, and we're going to obviously need some big ones through here. So we're going to need like 4 big beds going through here, and it's looking like we're going to use cinder block and stack them 2 high. So we'll have big rows, cinder block garden beds. Boom, boom, boom. Probably 2 or 3 here, and then back there. It's going to be the most efficient way to get them watered. It'll be easiest way to weed them. And I'm going to have the garden beds about 3 to 4 feet wide, so I can put weed mat directly on them. It's gonna work out a lot better. Then we can have our drip line system running through the raised garden beds. So the plan is to have those out here, probably have a couple up here, down in here, and then maybe 2 here. So 4 to 6 of them, and they're going to be big. They're going to be like 40-foot long. So more to come on that, and good news on the greenhouse. We have a greenhouse on the way. It is, I believe it was 10 by 16 feet. It's a totally hard paneled greenhouse. It's going to go right here. So as you're walking up to the main entrance of the flower garden, we'll have the greenhouse here. So we're going to get this leveled out and graded. And then right here, I'm thinking of having the second greenhouse or some kind of a shade house to keep some plants that are potted shady in a shaded area. So possibly have that here next to the greenhouse. So within the next week or two, we should get that and start building it. Excuse me. But so that's gonna be awesome. I'll be able to overwinter plants. It'll be much more efficient as far as keeping it warm during the winter with the big heater that I have. Looking really awesome. Super stoked. That fence, I was on that fence all week. It took a long time. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll post another video shortly.